Hey folks, Thomas Tao here in beautiful Brooklyn, New York, and today I'm going to be talking about the 2023 Buffalo Trace Antique Collection for VinePair, ranking from my favorite this year to my least favorite this year. And I gotta be honest, my rankings were almost the opposite of what I expected based on previous releases in this series. But before we get into that, make sure you read my full article ranking all 5 expressions at the link in the description below. And make sure you subscribe to VinePair on YouTube, which you're watching right now. So it's super easy and it would mean a lot to me personally. All right, folks, we're gonna be ranking from 5th place to 1st place. That's the one I liked the least to the one I liked the most. This year's expressions in the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. Now, they did release all 5 expressions this year. We know that some years that's not the case. For example, in 2021, Buffalo Trace did not release a George T. Stagg. They said the batch just wasn't up to quality standards. This year, they have released all 5, and I'm going to talk about all 5. Again, I go much more in depth in my individual reviews, which are all linked in the description below, and my rankings article, which is more in depth in this video, also linked below. Let's talk about William Larue Weller, which came in 5th place. Normally, love this stuff. This year, I only liked this stuff. It was a little too heavy for me on the medicinal cherry note, which is something I get from a lot of versions of this that I like, but it didn't have enough other robust and balanced flavors to kind of make up for the fact that it veered heavily into that territory. So this year's William Larue Weller, a good pour, but for me, this lagged behind every other expression, so it came in 5th. Number 4 and number 3 were separated by a razor-thin margin, and those are the 2 ryes. I love Thomas H. Handy. It's normally my 2nd favorite, but this year's Thomas H. Handy, even though it was good, about 9 proof points lower than last year's, couldn't quite beat out Sazerac 18. I will say on the Thomas Handy, the lower proof point is actually something I really enjoyed. I thought it allowed more delicate flavors, including some floral notes, to really shine through. But Sazerac 18 at 90 proof, often not my favorite. It's often my 4th or 5th favorite expression in the line. This year, it really hit for me. It was sweet, spicy. I thought the mouthfeel was about perfect for 90 proof. Normally, it comes across a little thin to me. Very, very much enjoyed this year's Sazerac 18. Very different whiskeys. In 2nd place, George T. Stagg. And let me tell you, if you like George T. Stagg, this one comes in at exactly 135 proof. Never say no to a pour of George T. Stagg, especially this year's. This is a Stagg lover's Stagg. It is bold, it is brash, there is spice, there is sweetness, tobacco, leather. It's like a kick in the mouth on the first sip, but you just can't say no to more. It's not the best George T. Stagg I've ever had. There are some George T. Staggs that are ridiculously good, but this one, it checked a lot of boxes that I look for in the expression. Over 130 proof, those tend to be my favorite. Okay, number 1 for me this year, and this shocked me. Eagle Rare 17. All right, here's the deal. I have an apology. I need to apologize to Eagle Rare 17. I have underestimated you. I have overlooked you. I've said some not terribly nice things about you. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm asking for forgiveness because this year you were fantastic. I don't think I've bemoaned you, but man, so good this year. 2023 Eagle Rare 17, probably my bourbon of the year. I think this was the best the expression has been since they increased it from 90 to 101 proof points. For me, I haven't done them as a lineup side by side, etc. Probably the best Eagle Rare 17 from the past decade, maybe the best Eagle Rare 17 of all time. It hit every point in that bourbon flavor wheel that I really like from a well-aged expression, but it wasn't too tannic. The oak, the age, the astringency, it had a little bit of that at 101 proof. It kind of lifted everything up. The fruit, the sweetness, the spice, you name it, you could probably taste it on this. I mean, baking spice, anise, cloves, I could go on and on and on. It was just so incredibly well composed. It is the highest scoring bourbon for me of 2023 so far. We still have a little bit of release season, but for me, this is a leading candidate for bourbon of the year, and I doubt anything can overtake it unless there's some real curveballs here in November, December 2023. But yeah, Eagle Rare 17, the best of this lineup for me. It's funny because these 2 expressions, 1st and 5th, are normally swapped for me. But hey, that's why we taste them every year. That's why we have to come into these with open hearts and open minds. I had a blast ranking, tasting, reviewing this entire lineup. I want to know what you think. If you've gotten the chance to try any of this year's 2023 Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, let me know your rankings, your thoughts, anything I got wrong. I go much more in depth on tasting notes for all 5 expressions at the links in the description below. I'm David Thomas Tao. Thanks for joining me. Hope you all drink wisely, and if you get these bottles, make sure to share with friends.